Hello, everyone. This is Christy Estelle with a special Astro Minute for the Capricorn Full Moon. And there's lots of themes that are going on around this full moon, so I wanted to do a special little podcast to talk to you about the 4 different themes that you can expect. The first is why so many feels. I am getting so many reports of people that are unable to stop crying, that are feeling things so deeply, and I believe this has to do with an aspect that isn't really being talked about that much in the astrological community, which is Waldemath, the point of our wounds, our fears that are deep, our bruises, our internal bruises, and a lot of the things that cause fears from deep childhood wounds continues to show up because it is conjuncting Jupiter, which makes everything bigger, right? And because both of these points and planets are in Cancer, all of that bigger energy is around our feelings and around our really deep wounded parts. So I think that that's part of the reason that we are feeling the feels so big right now. Waldemath is also headed towards the sun, so it's illuminating some of this energy that's to come, which I think will be welcome because right now it does feel like a bruise that's under the surface that we can't quite see the reasoning behind, but we're certainly feeling it. Also, Black Moon Lilith, which is another point that's associated with deep fears, perhaps past life fears or childhood fears, if you believe in past lives. Those are coming up as well very deeply because Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio. And Scorpio is that intensity, that looking deeply at the feelings that are buried, buried deep. So not only are we unearthing things that we maybe haven't seen for a while, but then they're coming to the surface as a bruise and continuing to trigger us in some cases. So what's the balance to this? The full moon, I believe, is going to provide a little bit of balance. And that is because the Capricorn full moons are always about reflection and release, is providing us with a little bit of earthy grounding. However, we need to be a little bit careful, I think, and this is just a suggestion, not to overcompensate with the doing energy, because we're also facing these collective themes around divine flow versus obligation, how we've continued to do things, and the structure that we have built, which is that Capricorn energy, perhaps being ready to be released with this full moon, and all of this divine feminine energy, which is asking us to do it differently, to perhaps not just do for doing's sake, but doing because it's inspirational, because it's connected, because it actually feels aligned with the universe and yourself, your divine self, that divine spark, in ways that we maybe haven't again seen for quite some time, or perhaps not even in our lifetime. So the third theme is fire. So there's a little bit of quick to anger energy because Saturn and Neptune are still hanging out in Aries, sextiling Pluto in Aquarius, which is adding a little bit of verbal fuel to the fire. And then this Pluto is trining Uranus, which is in Gemini. So again, there's a tendency maybe to not necessarily think before we speak. So my suggestion is to just sit on it if you have a particular opinion that you want to work through. Uranus in Gemini does give us the mental capital to work through that energy. So if you can journal it out, perhaps some answers will come. And later on tonight, because we have a moon sextiling the North Node, that Capricorn full moon energy, we're going to get a little bit more clarity, I think, also on what all of these feels, including the anger, are about. Finally, the fourth theme is that a lot of people are feeling body energies. So all of these feelings are showing up in people's body. And that probably has to do with the fact that Mars is in Virgo, which is the sign of embodying in our physical reality and health. So our health is embodying in our day-to-day life. So any feels that you have that have been suppressed, that we haven't been able to perhaps move through, might be showing up in your body. So it's worth asking the question, what are you trying to tell me, achy shoulder? Thank you for showing up. The gratitude piece is always helpful because then your body knows that you are listening to it. I also recommend a good ceremony. I always love a good ceremony, but with Capricorn being an earth sign, it's an especially good time for ceremony. So if you just want to plant a seed outside, maybe thank the grass, any of that is welcome. And perhaps ask Mother Earth to help you release anything that's ready to let go, especially around work, daily life, and the feels. This has been an update on the Capricorn full moon. I know it's been a doozy, but as always, thank you so much for listening. Subscribe if you want to hear more about full moons, astrology, all of the biz. And as always, keep your astrology uplifting.